Hello Rovers, today I'll be starting a new series called How to Wuwa, where I will teach you what you need to know to become proficient in the game. This is more for my friend who just started Wuwa, but feel free to join in. Alright, let's begin. So welcome to Chapter 1, Understanding Resonators. Every playable character in Wuthering Waves is called a Resonator, and each one comes with unique abilities. When you open the Resonator menu, you'll see multiple skill nodes that you have already unlocked. These include Normal Attack, Resonance Skill, Forte Circuit, Resonance Liberation, Intro Skill, and Outro Skill. It may sound a bit overwhelming at first, and trust me, I was confused too when I first started. But let me break it down in a way that makes sense. Normal Attack is any attack that you trigger with the attack button. Clicking the attack button equals basic attack. Holding the attack button equals heavy attack. Clicking the attack button while in air equals mid-air attack, etc, etc. Resonance Skill. You can think of this as the Resonator skill. It has a cooldown but usually doesn't cost any resources to cast. However, there are exceptions, like Dungeon, who consumes HP each time she uses her skill. Forte Circuit. This is what enhances a skill or an attack of a Resonator depending on their kit. It's tied to the Forte gauge, which you can see above your HP bar at the bottom center of the screen. Usually, having a full gauge equals your enhanced skill or attack is ready. Having an empty gauge just means that the Resonators can only use their normal skill or attack. Each Resonator has a different Forte Circuit mechanic, so this is also what makes their gameplay unique. Resonance Liberation. This is essentially a Resonator's ultimate. It has a cooldown and requires resonance energy to charge up. Energy regen affects how fast your Resonator gains energy to use their ultimate. Intro and Outro Skills. They are skills that happen at the same time when you swap. The intro skill is casted by the incoming Resonator that's being swapped onto the field. The outro skill is casted by the outgoing Resonator that's being swapped out of the field. However, these don't trigger every time you swap. They are tied to the on-field Resonator's concerto gauge, which is the circular meter next to the Forte gauge. When do intro and outro skills activate? They will only activate during combat and if the concerto gauge is full. So you notice how my concerto gauge is full right now, but when I swap my characters, nothing happens. I just swap in normally, and that is because I'm not in combat. Now, if I were to go up to these plushies and start attacking them, I would enter combat mode. And because my concerto gauge is full, now when I swap characters, the intro skills and the outro skills will be activated. To know when it's ready, listen for this audio cue. Let's replay the audio cue one more time from a different sample. And watch for the Resonators portrait glowing on the right side of the screen. You can do several things to fill the concerto gauge. Blending attacks, dodging enemy attacks, casting skills. Though some skills don't generate energy. So if you want to be sure, you can check the skill details for specifics. When you enter the Resonator overview page, you'll notice a section below the Resonator stats that show their combat roles. Most of the time, Wuwa does a pretty good job at assigning these roles, so that they can serve as a guideline for character and team building. For example, let's say you want to use Shopkeeper in your team. Looking at her combat roles, she is classified as the support and a healer, traction, and damage amplification. From this, you can tell Shopkeeper is a support Resonator. But what about Baizhi? If they are both supports, what makes them different? This is where understanding character's kit becomes important. Combat roles give you a general idea, but they don't give you the full picture. That's why I highly recommend checking Resonator guides to learn their strength and how they fit into different teams. Now, let's talk Resonance Chain. All you really need to know is that the more sequence you activate, the stronger your Resonator gets. For the current state of the game, having the base character and weapon is already enough to clear even the hardest endgame content. We call this S0R1, which means sequence 0 because none of your resonance chain is lit up, and R1 for rank 1 because you have one copy of the signature weapon. So if you're wondering whether you need to whale for extra sequences, you really don't. Save your wallet. And if you really want to spend, grabbing the monthly pass is more than enough, as long as you're not pulling for every single character in every phase. And that's chapter 1 of How to Wuwa. I hope you've learned something, especially the concerto energy, concerto gauge, as well as the intro and outro skills. In my opinion, that's the most confusing part for anyone who's just starting Wuwa. Happy gaming, Rovers, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.